Hey guys, Matthew here, and today is going to be the second update of my Hideout to Headhunter series. So today I'll be talking about how I went from about 20-ish exalts to over 60 plus exalts in the matter of a day. The stream lasted for about, I think, 7 hours. So we actually did quite well yesterday in terms of currency making. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys essentially every single thing that I did. I only did 3 different things to actually make that currency, and yeah, it'll be pretty quick. So the first thing I did is I went over to PoE profits, and I basically went to divination cards. Now under divination cards, essentially you will see a bunch of divination cards where you'll see the cost of the divination card, right, and the revenue of the item that you're making, and your return of investment. So the idea is that you want to be looking for ones where the return of investment is actually fairly considerable in terms of percentage, right? Because obviously, unless you're extremely rich and you don't care about it, you want to be making as much currency as possible on your actual investment. The problem with a page like this is that this pulls data from PoE.ninja. So this is not 100% accurate at all. So what I had to do essentially is I went over to the Divination card tab, and then I went over to PoE.sale, right, which is the trading website. And then I manually looked at the price of some of these that looked pretty decent. So one that I landed on that I thought was actually quite decent was part of the first ones. So what I did is I actually went out and I looked at the price of Feral's Fur. So if you look at the price of Feral's Fur right now, and this is essentially what I'm going to do today as well, I'll see that the cheapest one is about 3 Exile, right? So that is the cheapest of a Feral's Fur, non-corrupted, of course. So I know for a fact that if I was to get one of these, no matter what I get in terms of roll, it's probably going to be selling for about 3x, which right now is about 450 chaos. So if I go back here to Feral's Fur, or prior to the first ones anyways, and I do well, it's worth 450 chaos, right? Because 3 exalt, that's what that is pretty much. How much money am I going to be making? I'm going to be making a profit of 135 chaos, but that's if I can get the cards for 45C. So I'm also going to go ahead and have to look at that. Am I able to get the cards for 45C, or is that wrong? So I'm going to go prior to the first ones, right? And I'm going to look. I can definitely not get the cards for 45C. I'm probably going to be able to get the card for about 60C, right? There's quite a few listed for 60C. So at 60C, it's 420, and if I can sell it for 3x, which is 450, I'm making a total of 30 chaos. This is what I mean by you have to be very careful with these sort of automated apps, because a lot of the time they are wrong and by a decent margin. So you have to verify, right? Don't just go buying a bunch of cards before you actually checked out the prices. But anyways, this is essentially what I did, and then after manually checking a few of them, I realized that prior to the first ones was actually pretty decent yesterday. And another one that was actually pretty decent was the pacts. I think there's a build that came out talking about that uses the pact, or well, not the pact itself, but what comes out of it, which is the Pledge of Hands. So if you look at Pledge of Hands right now, the cards are about 30C a pop, and you need 9 of them. So let's just say 30C times 9 would be 270 chaos. And now if we look at Pledge of Hands, right, we are going to be at around 2x, which is right 300C, just about 300C, which that means that there's about a 30C profit there. But on a set of 9 divination cards, that is actually horrible. So we are not going to be wanting to do that, right? So that's kind of the issue, I guess, with this divination card flipping strategy, is that a lot of the time most of your options actually suck, because there's too many people doing it, or because there's like, there's just no margins whatsoever, because the divination card might be too rare, or because the item itself, there's a lot of people switching builds, so they're selling off their own. There's a lot of different possibilities, but a lot of the time they're not very good, but sometimes you can find some pretty decent ones. So this is the first thing that I did. The second thing that I did is I went ahead and crafted a wand. So if you look at a convoking wand on Craft of Exile, if you use corroded jagged metallic shuddering, it takes on average 12 resonators to get +2, right? So it actually took me over 20 to actually get my +2. So I was bleeding money quite heavily because every one of these attempts is about 1/3 to half an exalt or so, depending on the price of the fossils. So it's very, very expensive. And if you get just a +2 one with nothing else on it, it's only worth like 3x. So you are actually bleeding money until you get pretty lucky. Fortunately for me, I did get pretty lucky. When I crafted that wand, it did take over 20 resonators, which was almost twice as what I was expecting in terms of averages, but I did get it. Fortunately, what happened is I actually also got T4 minion damage. Now, T4 minion damage doesn't sound that crazy, but it's better than what you can craft. And as you can see, that's an average of 147 resonators for that to happen, which is quite a bit of money. Now, the thing that happened there is I had 3 random suffixes. So what I did is actually, maybe I can just do emulator. Yep, I can just do the emulator just to show you guys. So one sec, let me go ahead and make that wand real quick. Actually, I'll just cheat it. It'll be faster that way. It will be faster that way. All right, so prefixes, let's go ahead and remove that. I'll just annul it down. My bad, should have prepared that. All right, +1 minion, right? I had +1 spells, and I also had minion damage, which is like honestly what pretty much gave that much value to my wand. But minion damage was T5, or T4, sorry, 50 to 59. So what I did is I had 3 random suffixes. So I'm just going to triple slime it just to show you guys that I had 3 random suffixes. So what I did is I used harvest and I did a reforge keeping prefixes. That cost me an X, and that gave me a random suffix. I don't remember what it was. So what I did at that point is I basically crafted on a bench mod, which is prefixes cannot be changed, and I slammed a veiled chaos orb. Then my wand was looking like that, and I unveiled and I got minion attacking cast speed. I don't think it's guaranteed, but I don't know if I got lucky or what, but I got that. So what this allowed me to do is actually craft on the suffix cannot roll caster modifiers. And if I was to show you to you guys on a convoking wand here, give me a second. On a convoking wand, when it comes to the redeemer influence, which is right here, there is this mod, and this mod, which are all caster modifiers. So in reality, if you block the caster modifiers, the only thing you can hit is either this, or that. So you have 1,000, 2,000, and about 2 other thousand, so about 4,000 weighting. And your hatred, which is what you want, has a weighting of about 1,000. So it's about a 1 in 4 to slam any tier, and that gives massive value to your wand. I actually got lucky even more so than what I wanted. I actually got this right here. Aura from your skills going to 2% increase damage to you and allies. This one actually is better than the hatred effect. This is actually the best in slots that you can get for the aura stacking minion build, right? The aura stacking, I believe it is a golem build or whatever. So I got pretty lucky when I got that. So what I did is I slammed my Redeemer Exalt, and, you know, that's what I got. At that point, let's just keep Hatred or Effect, because whatever. I crafted Trigger as my last suffix. Right here. I crafted Trigger, and I sold this one for 48 Exalts. Looking back at it, I probably could have gotten more for it. There was only 2 ones that were similar, one which was offline and one which had been crafted only a few hours before that. Mine was actually a tier higher on the minion damage. So it was even worth more than that. So looking back, I probably could have gotten more than 48 exalts out of it, but I was pretty happy because it sold very quickly. Now, there's always the problem with these that, you know, it could be a viewer, right? Buying my items, and that's why some expensive items can sell a lot quicker. But after talking with the guy, it actually did not seem to be a viewer. It just seemed to be like a streak of luck that he was making an ore stacking minion build. His buddy had quit and given him all his in-stacking gear, so he even showed me a bunch of corrupted in-stacking gear from his friend who had quit. And he had a bunch of currency from his buddy, and then he was just trying to make an ore stacking minion build. So, of course, though, there's a lot of people in chat who are like, that should never have sold, you know. People are some people are angry. I mean, I decided that I was going to basically just delete the exalts, but then I realized that, you know, getting lucky on a craft is something that might just not happen every single time. And after talking with the guy, it seemed that he was indeed not a viewer just trying to help me out, so we went with it. Of course, it was not oversold, it was actually undersold, and the guy even repriced it for more until he was buying the rest of his gear. Anyways, that's the one thing that I crafted, which was a big craft. Sold for 40 exalts, or 48 exalts, and I probably would say that I probably put somewhere around 12 or 15-ish exalt into it, so it was a pretty massive amount of profit, over 30 exalt profit on that craft. Okay, and the last thing that I did is I bought a ton of these bases over here, item level 86 spike point arrow quivers, bought a ton of these, and I just basically did the Alk Scour. So I would basically put 5 in my inventory, I would scour all of them, and then I would Alk all of them, scour all of them, Alk all of them. And the idea is that we were going for life, plus 1 arrow, and then elemental damage with attack skills, right? That's pretty much all we're going for. But I didn't get lucky on any of them, like, per se, that were insane, but I did get a lot of pretty okay, like, one-ish Exile Quiver, and one that was pretty decent, about 4x. As you can see, I have 4 of them left, and I have 4 of these bases left. I think I've sold 4 of these quivers already, including the 4 Exalt one, which is pretty good, actually. I was surprised at how fast they sell, but I mean, I was really just pricing them to sell quickly, so I was undervaluing them as well. That's for sure. Just having basically anytime that you have a wed life plus 1 arrow, even if they're pretty bad stats, pair that up with a crafted attack speed and you've got yourself a pretty insane quiver. So that's pretty much that. That, I believe, is essentially every single thing I did for profit yesterday. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the little update. Basically got lucky on a pretty big craft, and otherwise it's been some pretty small profit, you know, 0.5x here, 0.5x there, 0.5x here, 0.5x there, to make it so we are now looking at about 60-ish exalt, maybe closer to 70 actually, because I made this base yesterday, so maybe even closer to 70x. But yeah, we're doing pretty good. I'm hoping to be done this challenge by Monday. But that'll be it for this episode. Now, hopefully you guys enjoyed. Before I go, I want to say a massive thank you to my supporters: Flame Scorpion, Richard, Willie, Alex, Jordan, Emil, Raymond, Tim, Scott, Lost with the Map, Grimoire, Nathaniel, Kremis, Justin, Kevin, the other Justin, So Nice, Axel, Mercury, and Bizen, as well. A massive thank you to everybody who wishes to remain anonymous, anybody else who has supported me in the past, and of course a special thank you to anybody listed here down below. Alright, that'll be Matthew signing out. Until next one, peace.